Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Smash that heart button if you're here, hashtag live if you're here live. And today we have David Lyon with us. He has been in the he's been a hypnotist and a magician and in that industry for the past decade. So he has a lot of experience to share with us in terms of mental mastery. And David, can you tell us a little bit about your origin background story for those of my audience who do not know who you are?
Yes, absolutely. Firstly, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. And I'll give you the summary. And if you want me to extract on anything, you let me know.
Sure.
So short version of the story is, when I was around 16 years old, I was in that place where I was kind of looking for that thing that made me special. Because I was wanting ways of connecting with people and making friends, because I was a very insecure kid and heavily bullied. And so I ended up seeing, I ended up seeing David Blaine on TV, who's one of the most famous magicians, in case you don't know.
Yes, I know him.
And seeing him is what inspired me to go on this path. And so I became a magician, spent years and years just obsessively practicing, started a YouTube channel when YouTube came out in 2004. That ended up blowing up, and I ended up getting invited by one of David Blaine's teachers out to Las Vegas to further my skills as a magician and to learn mentalism, which is the art of mind reading and predictions and that sort of thing, and also hypnosis. And so that was I learned hypnosis out there in Vegas through the world's fastest hypnotist. It was a father and son duo named Han Wong and Gordon Wong. And they taught me how to hypnotize anyone in less than a second, where traditionally it's like 15, 20 minutes. And then so I just, I took the skill set and I ran with it. I continued to make YouTube videos. I was performing on TV. I performed for celebrities like Drake. And then eventually that led to me, looking for fulfillment in my life and finding the spiritual path and discovering my spiritual and psychic gifts, and just wanting to, use all my skills as a whole to give back to the world and help people master their mind and their energy.
Wow. This was back when YouTube got started, and then a few years in, or like right after, you got invited to be a part of that world of magic, and then you got trained by a father and son duo to hypnotize with a lot of speed. Yes. And from there, what happened? You continue going further and deeper into it and learn from other magicians, or you kept with the father-son duo and then they like help you perfect your craft?
Yeah, great question. So it was interesting, because when I learned hypnosis from them, it felt like the closest thing to real magic that I'd ever learned. Since a lot of magic is illusions and trickery, this is 100% real, and so when they taught me their technique, they only gave us a 1-hour lesson. They hypnotized me, took away my fear of spiders. I had actually gotten hypnotized by his 12-year-old son, and in my mind, I'm like, if a 12-year-old can do it, I can absolutely do it, and anyone can do it. And so I learned their technique. And then what most blew me away is, because we were practicing in the training room, there was about 20, 30 other magicians there. And what most blew me away was how easy it was to do. Every single person that I was going up to and trying the technique for the first time, they were going into this deep trance. And I just couldn't understand for the life of me, why is it when I do this certain technique, say the word sleep, drop them in trance, why now all of a sudden I could click my fingers and my words become the reality? I could say, now you believe I'm Justin Bieber, or now you see zillions of dollars. And so that wonder, that desire to understand the why of like why hypnosis works became my obsession. And so from there, when I flew back to Montreal, which is where I was living at the time, I just obsessively devoured every piece of knowledge, trained with every mentor, read every book, but really got the most of my training just going out there in the street, into the malls, and just daring to fail and going up to people and hypnotizing them. And then that's when I started to learn the intuitive aspects of hypnosis and really the spirit of hypnosis that no mentor was able to teach me. You know, they all taught me the mechanical side of things, but they weren't able to teach me the why. And so that's what I went out there and I got for myself.
Yeah, it feels, for someone who's not deep in your world, to me, it feels like a part of it feels like, what if it's combining technique with like the game, the confidence of
Absolutely.
going in there and saying I can do this, and then people go, oh yes you can, you know, like they are persuaded into that space, and then they stay there because you're just like, this is what I do, this is what I can do. And because I'm going into more learning how to do sales, and sales does include a lot of mental confidence and
Yes.
everything like that, like showing up with that full confidence really persuades the people you want to serve into your world and have that transformation. And there are a lot of moments where that works really well and I'm like in the flow of it, and then there are moments where like it doesn't work at all.
Right.
And then they're like no. so
Right.
so yeah, I feel like, wow, if it's something that you can continuously improve and perfect, you can actually change a lot of lives and influence a lot of people in a way where there's I don't see a lot of other I see a lot of the components of persuasion and mental focus in all these other aspects like sales and marketing, and because I'm in that world.
Yes.
Um, so it's like it's underlying a lot of the it has a lot of the things that is required to change someone's perspective and
Yes.
therefore change their life. And so that's really important. Um,
Yeah. And yeah, and I'll elaborate a little bit just to make hypnosis a little bit more clear for people who
yeah.
don't know, because there's many levels and layers. But essentially, hypnosis allows you to communicate with the deepest part of a person, their unconscious mind. You know, and your unconscious is essentially the part of you that takes care of your breathing, so that you don't have to think about it. Your blood flow, your imagination. And so it's really the magical decision maker part of your mind. And so when used in communication, it allows you to create influence and resonance and persuasion, which of course could be used positively and negatively. I like to believe that people have integrity. um, and and on an entertainment aspect, what you're doing is you're hacking into the part of the mind that you use when you dream at night. So when you dream at night, no matter what's going on, you believe it's 100% real. There could be monsters, you could be flying, you could be with Michael Jackson. You don't question it. So this is more spontaneous hypnosis, you know, or when you're daydreaming, that's also a form of hypnosis. You know, if you're watching a movie and even though you know it's actors in a script and you're getting emotionally engaged, that emotional engagement that makes you cry, it's hypnosis because it's speaking to the deepest parts of you. So a hypnotist is someone that knows how to access that deliberately so that it calls forth more of your unconscious potential. And whether you want to use it again for entertainment or to create change. I actually like to I view hypnosis a little bit uniquely than most hypnotists,
Mm-hmm.
where I see all hypnosis as dehypnosis in a sense. Meaning, if you think about like, why is it when you see a red light you know to stop? You know, but
Oh, I know what you mean. I just got chills, like
yes,
realizing that, because we're so programmed. We're
exactly.
so hypnotized by the world, watching TV. We're like numb, you know, like phone. Like we go through life very programmed, and we get more and more programmed. So yeah, I can
Yes,
relate to that, being dehypnotized and
yes.
breaking out of the trance.
Exactly. It's like pulling you out of the matrix, so to speak, you know, because, you know, like I said, you know, it's like when you see red, it makes you think stop. When someone gives you the middle finger, it gives you rage. But if you show the middle finger to a baby, it doesn't mean anything because they haven't been programmed with it yet, right? So a true hypnotist, in my opinion, is someone who removes the limiting programs and beliefs and helps you transform your limitations into freedom and power so that you could be your truest, realest self. Because at its core, the purpose of hypnosis is to help you understand yourself.
Oh man, that's so good.
Yes.
That makes me feel like, oh shoot, like what has my life been, you know? A bunch
Exactly.
of programming and then walking through life, and then, you know, the only way I know that anything else exists is meeting people who tell me that there's another way.
Yes.
And for you, it happened like a decade ago, but for a lot of people, they could go through their whole life not realizing that, or they're so entrenched in their own world that even if they see Magic Blaine on YouTube, or, you know, it's very
Magic Blade.
detached. Not Magic Blaine, David Blaine.
Yes.
It's like a very detached thing. Like they're just some characters doing their craft, but rarely would I think that it applies directly to my life.
Yes.
And then the only way I'm like more open to it is because I directly meet you, but also because I'm learning sales, and in sales, you know, people are selling like $100,000 to one person, and
Mhm.
and in the normal world, $100,000 might be a year's worth of income for some people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that kind of leap, that mental leap, is being forced upon us in the sales world.
That's it.
If it's forced upon us, and then we have people around us that are like, yeah, it's true, that's how it is, then I can get into it. But otherwise, there's no way I will believe it. So if I don't believe that, how
Mhm.
can I believe in magic? You know, how can I believe in hypnosis unless I see it in front of my eyes?
Of course. Yeah. And if you think about, like, think about, I mean, perhaps you know this, but it's like it's our beliefs and our definitions that create our reality, right? So what I mean by that is a lot of people have the belief, no pain, no gain. You got to work your ass off to be successful. Those are beliefs. They're not inherent truths, right? So if you define that life is difficult, then you're going to experience life as difficult. So our beliefs and definitions create our reality and our experience of reality. So what a good hypnotist can do is help you upgrade those beliefs. Whereas I've never believed in working my ass off to be successful ever. And I have great time, and I do great. Whereas I believe, instead of working your ass off, why not excite your ass off? And so there's all these little societal and cultural beliefs that get instilled within us from a young age that we don't even know we're believing until someone gives us a mirror so we could see another perspective.
Yeah, I love that. Excite your ass off. Your beliefs define your reality, not the reality gives you your beliefs. I
Exactly.
mean, your environment gives you your beliefs. But so that's kind of like, you know, if I think it, it will happen. The thinking, yeah, if you believe it, it will happen. Versus, my environment tells me that this is the case, and you know, I have no other choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like the most simple quote I can give is like, and I don't remember who said this, but it's, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're always right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And
I heard that quote too. Don't know who said it.
right. But it's so true. It's so powerful. And this is where people say seeing is believing, but actually the opposite is true. Believing is seeing.
Yeah. So for my audience, some top level, some tricks that they can apply into their life. They, you know, they're watching you and they're hearing you talk, and it's influencing them, hopefully in a very positive way. But
Mhm.
is there something that, because you know your world, I don't know your world, is there something that you can tell them, or you can tell me or us, um, certain things that will make us go, aha, like,
Yes.
oh yes, that's true, that you give to your audience?
Yes, a great question. I'll give you my most core message, my most core teaching that I share with people, and I call this a soul upgrade, so to speak, right? And this is all about, so essentially, this has to do with, so this is for people who experience lots of stress, who get stuck in their head, who feel like they have to figure everything out, and who end up pushing up against life a lot rather than allowing themselves to be pulled and live in flow and have life be an experience of effortlessness, right? Because one of my core beliefs is that life is designed, emphasis on the word designed, life is designed to be effortless, right?
Yes, I
And
have a lot of friends who are like that. Sorry,
yeah.
friends. But yeah, like they're stuck in their head. They think about what if this, what if that, and then it just exhausts their mental
Hmm.
ability to decide throughout the day. It's just like a lot of cloud, you know?
Absolutely. So this will help all those people. So if you're someone who experiences lots of and you want more this will help you. So so it starts with the core understanding that life is designed to be effortless. And what I mean by that is life in and of itself, it just flows, right? Life just flows. It's us who complicates things and makes it more complicated than it needs to be. It's all in our mind. So, and this happens because most people try to figure out how things are going to happen, right? So they plan for it, they figure it out, but there's a fundamental flaw in that because our minds, our physical minds, are only designed to know is only designed to know how things are happening and how things have happened. It's not designed to know how things are going to happen. However, our higher mind or our soul or our intuition, whatever word you want to put there, I'll say soul because most people can relate to that. Our
Yeah,
soul knows how things are going to happen. It's the one that has the bird's eye view when you're in the thick of the forest and you see like three different paths and you're thinking you should go straight. Your soul is the one that's up above going like, actually you should go left because if you go straight there's a cliff.
yeah,
So this is how I suggest for people, and take it if it resonates, to live your life literally from moment to moment to moment. All right. So I want you to imagine or understand that we know that the language of physical reality is action, right? It's action that makes things happen in this reality. Is that fair to say?
yes,
Okay. Now, the language of our soul is 5 different energies. It is passion, joy, creativity, excitement, and love. Those are the languages of our soul, meaning anytime we feel any of those feelings, excitement, joy, passion, inspiration, we are receiving the language of our soul, and it is asking us to take action on those feelings because it has the bird's eye view.
yeah,
So, so anytime we feel, I'll just sum it up as excitement because it's really the texture of excitement, where the soul's excited about passion and it's excited about love. So anytime we feel the texture of excitement or inspiration or intuition, that's our soul's way of saying, hey, this way, this way, this way. I already have everything figured out for you because I could see all you have to do is trust me. And so what most people will do is they'll be like, yeah, excitement's good, but first I have to do this thing. First I'll do this and then I'll let myself have excitement. But people who think like that have it backwards,
yeah.
because truthfully, by acting on your highest excitement every single moment that you can to the best of your ability, with no insistence or assumption on how the outcome has to go,
Yeah.
that is how your life becomes an explosion of abundance, synchronicity, and opportunity without you having to work your ass off, without you having to figure things out, because you're tuning into the place where it's all figured out for you.
Oh my gosh.
Does this make sense so far?
That makes total sense to me.
Beautiful. Yeah. So this is literally how I've been living my life for as far as I could remember. And eventually, like, I became more conscious of it as I saw people struggling, and I was able to put words to it. But this is why I've never had to work my ass off and struggle, but I've always attained exciting and effortless success way bigger than I've ever imagined. So because I was always, for me, our dreams are not a destination, it's a state of being, right? Our dreams are not a destination, it's a state of being. There's feel, everything we do, it's because we believe we're going to feel better in the having of it.
Yeah.
Right? So we're looking for feelings of aliveness, of freedom, of excitement, of feeling lit. So when we follow the thread of excitement and inspiration, it's like pulling more excitement and inspiration to us, no matter how the path looks. So even if you think I should be doing this thing, but excitement is taking you that way, the fact that it contains excitement in it lets you know that it's connected. So you might be saying, I need to do this thing and I'm trying to figure it out and I'm stressing, and excitement or intuition saying like, hey, go get a smoothie with your friend. No, but I have to do this thing. Yeah, but go get a smoothie with your friend. That's what I really feel like doing. Mind versus soul. When we go get that smoothie, what we don't know is our soul can see that by going that way, we're going to be at the right place at the right time and meet a person that's going to give us an opportunity that was just like, oh, I needed to meet you and I didn't even know it. Right?
Oh, that is so good. I feel like I am where you are, but I don't put it in words. I don't articulate it. But in my own life, when I sought things out because I'm like, ooh, that's interesting, and I'll go there. And I remember even on besides day-to-day life, like especially on vacations, it's like, oh, let's go get an RV. Oh, that's interesting. Let's do that. Like, it's more like the excitement is pulling me towards these
Yes.
different ways. And instead of saying, oh, but I could get hurt, or, oh, I don't know about that. It's more like, let's try it out. And, if it doesn't work, then oh, well.
Yes.
And that kind of attitude has brought more abundance into my life, because people see that and they're like, you are they call me green. Like, you're very green. You're not a lot of limitations in your mind are attached to things for you. And to me, I'm like, well, this is how I'm just living life. This is normal. And then the more I talk to people who are more grounded in the like, I would say, work environment, where they don't have the time to be free mentally throughout the day, and then they have to escape it at night, and they escape it in the normal ways, like Netflix, or like watching movies.
Yes.
It's like, when I suggest the spirit of excitement to them in terms of just activities, a lot of times they have more restrictions around that. They have more worries around it, and they're like, well, I need to figure it out first and see if that's okay and matches with me, versus let's go and just do it.
Yes.
And so when you're telling me, when you put it in words, it really resonated with me, because I see it. I just didn't have the words for it for a while.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. And, and so like, so to give your audience something that they could apply right now, I would invite them, and I would invite you, if you want to ask yourself, like, if you have any intuitions that you've been putting on the back burner, if you have any excitement that you've been putting in the back, or any inspiration that you've been putting on the back burner because you think you have to do this thing, but there's that intuitive voice, that inspirational voice that's just like, come on, this way, I really want this, I really want this. That is your soul saying magic is this way, as opposed to struggle. That it's a very practical tool, and for me, this is what I call the science of magic. It's the left brain, where the left brain meets the right brain. And of course there are many subtleties to all this. Because one thing that comes up a lot is, people will say to me like, yeah, but you say that life is designed to be effortless, but of course, like, life is hard sometimes. And I go,
They're like, what do you mean effortless? Life is hard.
yeah. And to that I say, yeah, of course, life is still challenging, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that those challenges can't be exciting, right? It's like, because again, I'm saying the flow of life is designed to be effortless. I'm not saying that challenges won't arise. It's like when a baby is learning to walk. Walking is something that's become effortless, but the challenge of learning to walk is extremely challenging, but it could be exciting for that child, you know. And so challenges could still come up, and lots of fear could come up, because maybe your highest excitement is to move to a different country or to perform on stage, and that triggers a lot of insecurities and fears. So there's still a great deal of challenge involved, and that's where courage comes in. So it's not to say that this will make life 100% easy. It does make it easier. It's just to say that this tunes you into the effortlessness and flow of life, where things just happen very magically.
I think that tool is very useful because even in my life, there are the next, you know, everyone's life. In my life, there's that next level that I'm trying to get to. And when I think about it in terms of, oh, I have to have this in place, I have to have this in place in order for me to do that, that's like the resistance way of thinking about it. But if I adopt that mindset and say, you know, it should be effortless, I get to be more genuine. I get to be more myself. And I think if I were to say something to someone and I'm more genuine, more myself, it's flowing, it takes a lot of the pressure and that feeling of just all that pressure, it melts away. And I think the steps to go there still exist, the steps I need to walk on. But
Yes.
instead of walking up the steps with like a lot of stuff on my, like carrying a lot of baggage or, you know, backpack and stuff, I'm walking effortlessly. Yeah.
Yes.
And having that mentally is such a great tool. I'm
Absolutely.
going to apply it to my next few calls.
Amazing. Yes. Yes. You know, and this is this is what I call, you know, the art of living magic, you know, which is the name of my brand and my movement is living magic, which to me is the opposite of living struggle or living planned, like in a really forceful way. You know, it's really that simple, you know. And I'm not saying it's that easy. I'm saying it really is that simple. And, you know, and I feel like I could hear the mind of a few of your audience members here. And, you know, because one of the things that also comes up is, you know, well, what if I can't sense my excitement? You know, what if I can't feel, you know, I'm in such a heavy place.
Oh
And,
yeah, they
you
might
know,
have that. For me, I don't even have that question, but that's great that you bring that up. So
yeah,
yeah, what if their question is that?
yeah, well, I'm happy you asked.
Right, I asked that all on my own.
Hypnosis. Yeah, so this is something that comes up a lot, you know. So what if you're just in a heavy, stressed out place and you just can't sense excitement? Then what do you do? So, you know, this is where I'm very passionate about energy mastery, if you can't tell. So let's just say that your vibration, your energy is over here, and you're just feeling miserable, stuck, or whatever you're feeling, and excitement is over here. So it feels like too high of a vibrational jump to go from here to there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're already in like joy and peace, it's very easy. But over here, it's tough. So to those people, what I suggest is simply move in the direction of a lighter feeling. Simple as that. Because you can always sense the direction of a lighter feeling, whether that's stopping to do what you're doing and watching a few things on YouTube, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's going to see friends. Just move in the direction of a lighter feeling so that you connect to more of your lighter self. You start to raise your vibration. Then you go from misery to, you know, to relief, to neutrality, to joy, to inspiration, to excitement, to magic. Right? It's just move in the direction of a lighter feeling. Simple as that.
Oh yeah, like, and I feel like in layman's term, it could be relax. And when people say the word relax, it could come with a lot of confrontation, you know, like just relax. And they're like, how can I relax? I'm stressed. But
Hmm.
when you put it in the way of move towards a lighter field, a lighter feeling, a lighter field, and then you'll inch your way towards back to calm, and then even move forward to inspiration and excitement.
Yes.
That has a tonality that's like more peaceful and less
Hmm.
confrontational. And I think there is magic in the way that you put these words together, because we are so programmed that a word can be a trigger. And if you can
Yes.
find the way to coach someone into a better understanding of themselves and a clearer form of mind, you are providing them that transformation in the form of words.
Yes.
And that's really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm like getting affected by your teachings right now. I'm like,
Good.
wow.
Good. That's part of my intention. So that makes me happy.
So cool. Okay, so to recap, if you're feeling like you can't get out of, like you're so down and deep in it, then then move towards a lighter
A lighter feeling.
field, and then a lighter
Feeling.
field or a lighter feeling.
A lighter feeling. A lighter feeling. Yeah, something like what would make you feel a little bit lighter? What's a lighter feeling thought? What's a lighter, like and everyone can sense where there's a lighter feeling because we experience duality within us. It's like when you know what you don't want, it's because you also know what you do want. It's like, but I have to do this, but I really just want to go do that. So there is an awareness on where the lighter feeling would be, even if it's just letting go of whatever it is you're doing right now. And you know what? Here, I'll give an example from my own life. And this is a tool that I give people. It's my most basic. I call this my most basic spiritual practice, and it's called feel like versus have to. Okay, so feel like is of the soul. It's of the heart. It's of the intuition. Have to is of the mind. So this is years ago. I remember one morning I woke up, and just because of the momentum that I already had built up in my mind and in my life, as soon as I woke up, it was like, all right, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. I have to get back to these clients, I have to work on this thing, I have, all these have tos. And
Yeah.
then, so I became aware of that, and I stopped, and I was like, okay, those are my have tos. That's what my mind, my limited mind, is thinking that I have to do. What do I feel like doing? And what I felt like doing, I'm like, you know what? I really just feel like getting a bowl of cereal and watching an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's genuinely what I felt like doing. And to my mind, it was like, are you nuts? Like, we have all these things to do. We have deadlines. We have this, that, and the other. You know,
You gotta
but
work.
yeah, you gotta work and do these things. But again, he's like, my soul is the one with the bird's eye view. It could see further, and and my feeling was just like, but this is what I feel like doing. So I decided I'm gonna listen to my soul. I'd rather feed my soul than my limited mind. So I listened. I got the cereal. I sat down, put on Netflix, watched Fresh Prince, and watching it just made me laugh. So it brought joy into my body, made me feel better. And then my vibration went from here to here. So I climbed in vibration. And then after the episode was done, I asked myself, okay, now what do I feel like doing? And and my feeling was like, well, now I really don't feel like doing my work. I feel like watching another episode. And again, my mind acts up, but I'm like, no, no, no. Today is soul day. I'm going to give this practice to myself just to see what happens. So watched another episode, and again, brought more joy, more laughter. I felt even better. And then now I'm like, now I really don't feel like doing my work. I feel like going outside and just taking a nice walk and enjoying the sun. So I listened, and I went for the walk, and I was soaking in the sun, and it just felt so good to walk slow and just be grateful of the heat. And because I was doing what I felt like doing, my vibration was gradually rising until this point where I hit a peak, and spontaneously, because I got this vibrational peak and met my soul where it was at, inspiration struck, and it was just like this flash of like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's how I can do the work that I have to do. And so all of a sudden now I felt like doing what I have to do. So my have to turned into a feel like, which allowed me to approach my work from a space of feeling like myself, from a space of inspiration, which allowed me to get it done way more effectively, efficiently, and effortlessly. So that path of feel like, this tool is literally how you live a synchronistic lifestyle and still get things done in the most efficient and effective way possible, without the stress, without the anxiety, because in your true natural state, there's no need for stress and anxiety. It's not, it's not something I ever experience anymore, and this is the path to getting there. It's really just giving yourself what your soul wants. So I would invite people to challenge themselves for one day, for 24 hours, feel like versus have to. Your mind is going to come up and say certain things, but my challenge to you is to just do feel like versus have to and see what happens.
Yeah, that is so powerful. That makes me think about there were so before I did more, I was freed already because of money from e-commerce. And so every single day I wake up and I think about, what do I feel like doing? But that's a natural state, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I didn't have that, getting to the point of what do I feel like doing today, I can see that that might not even be on the table. I might not even think about it. Or if I think about it, I would squash it. So pursuing that feeling is like giving your soul and your mind that what it needs to come back and be alive again.
Yes. Yes.
And, yeah.
And it allows you to attract everything that your soul is wanting for you. You know, whether that's love, abundance, opportunity, because as you walk the path of the soul and the feelings of the soul, you're aligning more with the soul, you're attuning more with the soul, and so you get more of your soul's desires, and you attract things and manifest things way more effortlessly without having to think about it.
Yeah, and I can see how that makes you feel less the need for things. Like, I gotta have this and I gotta have that and I gotta do this. Like you said, the have to, I got to.
Yes.
And moving away from that, yeah, that's a great tool. That's another good tool.
I've been doing this for a little while.
I'm like, wow, all these three tools, what you just said, will, if you really think about it, will, and be open to trying it out, will really change how you live your life.
Absolutely. It's living magic.
Yeah, and I think what's important about your work is that there's so much noise out there, and there's so much noise in here, that having someone be deliberate in forming the culture and the vocabulary, you know, the words, put that together so people can reach that aha moment, that inspiration, is such important work.
Thank you.
Because as someone who has my own program, and I have, you know, I'm in the technical world. I have developers, you know, I have office hours with really techie people, tech support and everything. I didn't even, I have mental modules at the very beginning of my program, but then I'm like, wow, you should have that every step of the way. It should be infused in the teachings of things that are technical too, because if they didn't have that mind correct, then all that technical stuff will be like block after, you know, brick after brick after brick that they're hitting.
Yes.
Versus if they have their mentality in the right place, then all those things are just part of the plan, and they will just move forward and with, you know, ease, and continue. Like your example of a baby being able to walk, like
Yes.
that struggle is real. It's a real human struggle, but the baby won't see it as, oh man, I need to do this in order to walk. The baby's just like, just walking, you know, it's just walking without thinking about it, and stumbling through it, but then eventually being able to run. And that's such a great example. I was trying to think of an example for myself, but all I can think of is like technology is something scary. People are scared of apps. People are scared of the word software, right? So getting into my program, they have all these fears connected to that, and I tell them, you know, what you want ultimately is a reliable stream of income that will carry you through your life, and you can duplicate it, and you could have all these multiple streams of reliable income, because it's not seasonal. It's not, you know, of course something can go in and disrupt your business or whatever, but chances are that's very unlikely. And as you're going towards that way, you have the freedom to now pursue the passions in your life, having all your bills and necessities paid for during that time. Like, you can be more present, you can be more yourself in this life if you have the things that must be paid for taken care of on that level.
Absolutely.
So you're fighting for that freedom. You're fighting for to live life on your own terms and not ask for permission for everything you do. Like, if you need to go to a dentist or doctor, you asking for permission. If you need to go vacation. So that's how I approach it. I'm like, look at the big picture. This is the big picture. This is what you want. And then, so all the technical stuff should melt away. Like, when I saw the opportunity for what it is, it isn't software. It's never about what it is. It's about the life I can give myself. And when I realized that that's what's at stake, and people are like, how many hours devoted? You know, my answer is, how many out, like, do you ask yourself that? How many hours is it needed to work on this? Versus I'm gaining freedom. What's at stake?
Because that usually, it feels like I have to them. When they ask that question, it's because it feels like I have to, and they're like, okay, convince me.
Yeah, convince me. And how I convince them is, what's really at stake? How, like Alex, we were in the room, he was like, what's it costing you for playing at playing small? Was it costing your family? What is it costing your loved ones for playing small? And it costs so much.
Costs a lot.
So when you frame it like that, they're like, oh, okay, like, it, you know, it takes what it takes. But for you, I see a different approach. It's more like, if I infuse, or if you infuse the teachings into a lot of these programs that require change to change their life, and those 3 tools you just gave me, then I don't think I would have to work as hard to convince them about seeing the program for what it is and wanting the life that they want. It's not going to be wanting that life through all this struggle, you know, through this attitude of no matter what it takes, you got to fucking do it. But it's more like, hey, it's going to be effortless. It's going to be a walk towards your soul. It's going to be a pathway where you're going to feel full and fulfilled, and you will get success. And, you know, it doesn't have to be such a struggle.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah, absolutely. This is literally how you get the life you want. This is how, you know, better than what you thought you wanted. It's how you align your dreams with your soul's purpose, you know, and, you know, and you know, and to even to touch on purpose a little bit, this is how you live your purpose, you know, and what I mean by that is, I believe that everybody's purpose is simply to shine, just like the sun. You know, if you look at the sun, you go like, what's the sun's purpose? To shine and just go on its path. And so that's another way of saying that our purpose is simply to be the most fully expressed version of ourselves, to be our greatest shine, and to simply go on our path of excitement, and to let others receive our shine and attract what we need into our lives. And so the way that this works is when we follow our excitement. So if we're feeling miserable and we start to follow lighter feelings and our excitement, all of a sudden we start to feel more connected to ourselves. We start to feel more inspired. We start to feel more creative. We start to feel more alive. We start to attract opportunities. So you're literally connecting to your shine and allowing yourself to just live your purpose by being your purpose. You know, so it's literally a complete kit. It leaves nothing out by living this way. It takes into consideration everything you possibly would think you have to think of, and then some.
That is so good. Oh my gosh, I feel like, wow, like, yeah, mine is blown, and I can see so much value in you devoting your time to learning this, because it makes you kind of so powerful. It makes you effortlessly powerful, and kind of like, I don't know, what the message you're spreading if this short period that we're interacting together is, you know, just like a little bit of what you teach, I feel like if someone is more involved and consistently involved with learning that way of living, the sky is like the limit. The mental sky is the limit, you know?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and yeah, I'm really, you know, hoping this is helpful. I mean, I see it's helpful for you, so I'm trusting that other people are resonating as well, you know. Um,
I've already, here's the thing. I feel like I am so delusional. I thought that since I have my freedom already, you know, then I don't really need to be more enlightened or whatever, because I'm already, in my mind, I'm already pretty happy. I live life really happy. You know, I have a happy life. I have
yeah,
a bubbly personality to a lot of people.
I couldn't
But
tell.
like I even asked my boyfriend, we live together, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like we started living together, like truly, in a house, and I'm like, wait a minute, you don't laugh every single day to the point where you cry? And he's like, no, that's insane. And so I'm like, what? But for me, that's a reality. Every single day,
Yes.
I'm laughing at a bunch of things. Not because I'm like a crazy person and I find, you know, everything funny, but I find a lot of things hilarious. Like if I drive by a building with a really big wheel, the size of a building, I find that hilarious because I'm in the auto parts industry as well for my other business. And I'm like, look at that freaking wheel. It's the size of a building. And I would just go off into like intense laughter and I'm crying
Mm.
and he doesn't understand that. But yeah, anyways, even with that mindset, what I just listened to you, my mind is blown again. I'm
Beautiful,
like,
awesome.
I'm like gaining value from your teachings as someone that it has, you know, escaped a little bit the programming
Mm.
that for a lot of people they're still in. And so I feel like your teachings apply to it. You know how you were taught one thing like math and then you
Yep.
know math?
Yep.
I don't think your teaching is very different. It's like you're taught math and pretend that in this world you forget math over and over again all
Right.
the time. So
Right.
you really need to constantly learn math, and the calculator can't help you. Your phone can't help you. You have to keep on relearning math to
Hmm.
survive. That's what it feels like. It feels like I need to keep on reminding myself and being in that space. And if I'm out of it, I have to go back to it again and again to maintain it, like an exercise. Like
Absolutely.
that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's very much an inner fitness or a spiritual fitness, you know, and this is why, you know, just to loop back around, why I said in the beginning all that all hypnosis is really dehypnosis. You know, so a lot of this conversation was really shining light on limiting beliefs, limiting programs, and then giving upgrades. Like, well, here's the upgraded belief, and here's actually the true natural way that things work. And so it removes limiting beliefs. Like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Mind expands, mind expands. And so this connects you. This is why I called it the science of magic. You know, and for me, this is my purpose as, whether you want to call me a hypnotist or an intuitive, I don't care about the label, you know, as long as you're getting the message. You know, like, you know, so this is really yeah, this is really the purpose of it all. It's to transform those limitations into freedom so that you can connect more to the wealth of your spirit, and just live bliss, live magic, you know, in your relationships, in your work, in your personal life, and in all fronts.
Wow, man, my mind is blown. Well, my interviews are usually 1 hour, so
Cool.
we are 1 hour. So we're going to wrap it up. I like absolutely see so much value in the work that you do. You know, you spent 10 years and you're going to continue going and helping spread your message, and I think it's a very valuable message. I honestly think every single program out there that is like coaching related or transformational, like any kind of program where you're bringing people into that space to help them gain a type of freedom, like financially or mentally or whatever, this should be a module. This should be like a requirement. Like I feel
Yeah,
like this
thank
should
you.
be a complete infusion into whatever program that exists, you know?
I agree. Yeah, no, thank you very much. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so guys, oh my gosh, all the messages just started appearing. Oh, I can't see the video. Oh, no Facebook Lives are working at the moment. Well, anyways, it just appeared right now to me. Okay, guys, so we're wrapping up. I'm going to play this into the group as a live, but it's going to be a replay.
Yes.
And I realized Facebook is like jumping back on. It's turning back on again. So
Cool.
so I love the work that you do. Where can people find you? Where can they reconnect with you and follow you?
Yeah, I guess the simplest way is just to look up my name, David Lyon. Lion is spelled like the animal. I have a large YouTube channel with magic, mind reading, hypnosis, and spiritual truths. My Instagram has lots of cool stuff, which is @Lionism. And Facebook, of course. My website is in the process of going through a relaunch, but if you want to check it out anyway, it is www.livingmagic.life. And I don't want to give too many links and stuff, but if for anyone who wants to actually learn hypnosis, I have some online courses, and that you can either find through my Instagram, or you can go to academy.lionism, lion like the animal, ism like Buddhism, so academy.lionism.tv. But just look up my name, David Lyon. It's the most simple way.
Yeah, and if this whole group is about a lot of digital marketers as well as affiliate marketers. So if you have an affiliate link for your class,
I do.
I'm gonna grab it and put it into the description.
I do.
So awesome. Okay, great. Thanks, David, for joining us today. I learned a lot. I'm pretty sure you guys have learned a lot from this. And yeah, so bye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click end live video, and then I can,
Yep.
connect.
Cool.
Right, bye, everyone. Thanks.
Peace.
Oh yeah, if you like that video, then you will love all the resources that I have over at kimcdang.com. That is KIMCDANG.com. There you will find all my courses, my extensions, all the offers that I have, as well as a lot of free resources if you are just getting started.